Good morning. I'm looking at the wall behind me and thinking, I gotta do something about my background. All you can see is the intercom and that shelf. I do have some plants. I'm gonna take the biggest one with the most drape, and I bought a couple of little clear bowls from, where did I get those? Dollar Tree? Indeed. The $1.25 tree. And yeah, I just got to get the gumption to repot. Not one of my favorite things to do. I don't like dirty, messy hands. My fingernails are already hopeless. But anyway, so I have something on my mind. Yes, I do. And I'm looking for advice from you, my friends. But first, let's have a sip of coffee. Oh, it's late. 5 to 11. I slept till 9:30. Yeah. But I always and forever get up one time every night, like around 3 o'clock in the morning. I hate that. But that's not my problem. What's my problem? Yesterday I went to pick up some packages that have been sitting and have come from Amazon to my son's house because I'm not using my current address as my address because, you know, I'm receiving a lot of packages and they have a really hard time getting in the locked double doors. So they end up leaving stuff in the foyer. I don't like that. Not that I think anyone would steal anything, but I don't want to take any chances with it, you know, getting damaged or what have you. So, yeah, I went yesterday with my van, and the kids weren't home. They went to do something, and I picked up my dinnerware set, which you'll see is short. Well, it's not really a short. I downloaded it wrong, so it's in my regular videos, but I don't care. It's not like YouTube's paying me squat. I mean, seriously. Takes 4 months now for me to get $100. So, whatever. So I'm just here, your friend, talking with you and sharing things in my life because I know a lot of you are kind of in the boat I've been in. And I want you to know, keep on rowing. Eventually, you're going to come to open sea. You're going to have options. You're going to have choices. Think things through, right? And think ahead. I tell my kids all the time, they're like, you're so negative, Mom. I said, no, this isn't negativity. This is planning ahead for what ifs. What ifs can happen, right? You know, you're attracting that energy. I don't know if I am or I'm not. But here's my problem. So I went to their house, and while I was there, I've forgotten to take Dennis's box with his ashes home. So it's been sitting on top of their refrigerator. So I took the opportunity to get it in the van, and I got it home, and it's here in my apartment. Here's the problem. Yesterday, I keep going to put my coffee down, but I want more. I don't know exactly when or what happened, but I was thinking about his ashes. Yes. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick up my other stuff. I've got to pick up his ashes. And suddenly it occurred to me, where should it go? Where would it fit or belong in this apartment? And I realized it doesn't. Where before, I couldn't let go of his ashes. I had to have them with me. It'll be 2 years, July 10th. I can't believe how the years have gone by since he passed. I can't believe how the days and months are going by. It's like, wow, I'll be dead before you know it. There's that negative energy again. Stop it. Edit. So, his ashes are here, and I went to Hobby Lobby. I know. Why do I love shopping? It's really decorating that I love. And I remembered this little tiny sailboat that was $5.99. So I decided to go there and get it. Unfortunately, I saw 3 other items. And soon $5.99 became $49.99. And I said, I got enough to eat for a week. I think I'll just take this stuff. I'm a sick woman. Yep, here's to that. You know, there's all these YouTube videos all over the place, right? And this isn't what I want to ask you about. So don't mention I spent $50 again. What was I saying? Oh, I hate when this happens. Oh, who cares? Anyway, okay, let's get to the problem now, because I was going to say something else, but I forget what it was I was saying. Something about my Hobby Lobby fetish. The little boat. I found a little boat. And guess what I found? And you know that in a previous video I said I'm going to look for perfume bottle. I found one for $5.99 on clearance at Hobby Lobby. And I bought it. It's on my shelf in the bathroom. That'll be in a different short. Okay, so my problem. Oh, yes, the little stool, $9.99. Marked down from $40, which was totally ridiculous. Who would pay $40 for this little tiny wood stool? I paid $9.99, so I don't know. There's probably a $40 woman out there who wants one. So anyway, and I made this poor man drag this ladder over and climb up to the top. All the clearance was on the 3rd shelf up. I couldn't even see the prices. I said, would you start holding things up and telling me prices? And I said to him, crazy old lady time. So, yeah, I really do talk to people like that. So the ashes are sitting there, and I am very uncomfortable. There's this dark feeling inside of me, and this other feeling like it's time to let his ashes go to the places he said, which is going to cost me a pretty penny because I got to go all the way up to New England. How do I do this? I think the kids said they wanted to go with me. So I'm thinking about November, and I'm going to talk to all of them about it. Hey, you guys want to all get together, and, you know, I can pick up Bonnie on the way, and if the kids want to take the minivan and all of them come with us, I think Finn will want to be there. I've brought Finn's little urn so that he can have some of his papa's ashes. And I have a little tiny necklace. And I don't know how the heck, they give you this little funnel that's like this big. And the hole that the ashes are supposed to go in is like non-existent. How am I going to do this? Ashes are kind of thick and heavy. Maybe some of the powdery stuff will... How am I supposed to do this? Do I wear gloves? Do I use my hands? And what do I do with the ashes that are on my hands? I've thought about, like, taking out, like, a tablespoon of his ashes and putting in a little baggie. But yeah, I could do that. Put it in a baggie and then take it to the beach so that whatever falls off, I can just dust it off and it could go into a place that we've been and we loved. So I might do it that way. I'm thinking. So here's my problem. I'm very angry at his family, and I'm trying to forgive, but I can't forget. I don't know if you remember this. I deleted a video where I went over the police report and everything his younger sister was trying to do. She believed I shot my husband because it was a suicide death, if you're new to my channel. And she called the sheriff and called the sheriff and called the sheriff and kept saying things like, are you aware he was left-handed? Yeah, they were well aware, and that was the arm that he used because blood had, I'm sorry, a trigger warning. It's a little graphic, so don't watch. Blood had, you know, when he put the gun to the roof of his mouth, naturally it must have been so instantaneous that his arm was soaked, you know. And, yeah. Of course, he used his left hand. She thinks I had something to do with it. And then when the sheriff said, there's just no way anybody else was involved. The evidence is very clear. This man was alone. He shot himself in the shower stall with the shower curtain drawn over. And so when she couldn't get me jailed, that was her intent. She killed my brother, put her in jail. It was all over. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And what hurt me most of all was the sister that we liked most. We were close to her. I thought we were. Maybe he was and I was just something she had to tolerate. She took some of my texts and went to her brothers and sisters. There were 6 of them, now there's 5. And she shared my texts and tried to use them because I said to her, Maureen, he didn't want to be saved, I said in the text. Let it go. I guess that was the wrong thing. I said, you've got to let him go and I have to let him go too. This is what he wanted. He did not want to suffer anymore. He didn't want to be here. And I feel he had that right, okay? That's what I'm saying to you. I didn't say that to Maureen. I simply said, you've got to let this go. Maybe that was the wrong thing to say. It was so soon. And they were very angry with me because I listened to my kids who said, let us make the phone calls to the family. I guess they were afraid they'd upset me or something. I said, you need to do it now. And they waited and waited. 5 days in, they waited. And I said, if you're not calling them, I'm calling Jimmy right now. That's Dennis's brother. So they called, and it was a shitstorm with his youngest sister, pardon my language, his youngest sister who wanted to have me incarcerated. She flipped. She didn't cry. She was just pissed. Why are you calling me? Where is your mother? And I was right there. I says, I'm right here, Joanne. I'm right here. I said, look, the kids wanted to do it this way. And then she started yelling. And I said, the reason I didn't call you and the reason they didn't want to call you is because we knew you'd be exactly like this. I wanted to say a bitch, but I didn't. Sorry about my language. You know, sometimes I go back to my street talk. But anyway, I know God forgives me. He understands. Sorry, God. So, Maureen, before I had seen the police report, had asked me for some of his ashes, and I said, yes, I would. But then it hit me. That's not what Dennis asked for. And I specifically asked him, what do you want to do with your family? And he said exactly this. I don't give a shit. I mean, he said it angrily. I don't give a shit. I said, what if they want to have a mass for you? And he repeated that phrase again. And I said, is there anything, because he said to me, I'm dying. 2 weeks before he shot himself, I'm dying. I said, what can I do? Don't you want to see your family? Don't you want me to call them? No. No, I don't want them here. I don't want to talk to them. The only few words he said was that. I know where he wants his ashes. Once I found out, and then I said to Maureen, I'm not ready to part with any of his ashes right now. And this was before the police report came out, and I found out that they all had ganged up against me. All of them together. It wasn't just her, Joanne. So, once I release his ashes, which I believe I'm going to do in November, because I can feel it, okay? I don't know if you want to call it intuition. I don't want to know if you want to call it just emotional crap. I don't know if you want to call it she's gotten over it. I'm never going to get over it. Never. I live with it. I'm learning how to find joy in little things, like decorating. I love decorating. I love reminding myself of all the years at the sea, of grandparents' houses and great aunts' houses and heritage. And don't cover your furniture. I want it covered. I'm looking for country, romantic, seaside, beach house. I'm looking for the things that remind me of old world. And according to my daughter Bonnie, I've hit nail on the head. She says, yeah, it's got this real old lady vibe. I nailed it. So, intuitively, putting all my anger toward them aside. Wait a minute, one more sip. Fibro throat. So Joanne at the end, because the sheriff said, we've investigated your complaint, we've investigated the situation thoroughly. He had medicines for all his ailments. He was clean, well clothed. The house was clean. The fridge was full of things for him to drink and eat. We see no neglect or abuse here, because she wanted to file a neglect and abuse charge. And when the sheriff said, we can't do that because we didn't find any neglect or abuse, and he repeated, the investigative sheriff was a woman, she repeated over and over to Joanne, he was clean, well clothed, food in the fridge, water. I had like 6 flats of water. I always kept his favorite Zephyr Hills water bottles available. He drank 5 a day until the day that he couldn't swallow anymore. And medicines for all his needs. He was on hospice care. I remember her saying to me when I was outside the house, they wouldn't let me go back in, and I was crying. What was it I was thinking? I can't remember now. Probably something regarding the care that he had. It's hard to go back there. It hurts in my mind, What do I do about the ashes? Once his ashes are gone, they're gone. Does his family have any right to any of it? Because I guess they want to put a stone up for him, and they might have. They had a memorial for him. They had a mass, I understand. They didn't even know he didn't want that, but they're Catholic and they got to do it. They didn't invite any of us, not even Bonnie was invited, probably because Joanne now hates Bonnie, where they were once very close. I don't think there's any resolving that issue. The hard feelings are way too hard. I don't know, Joanne thinks we pulled something because of the 5-day thing. They didn't want to face it. They didn't want to make the call. I wish they would have just said, go ahead, Mom, make the call. I would have called Jimmy. He would have called everybody else. And we wouldn't have had to deal with that. They probably would have started calling me and I probably wouldn't have answered. I basically told Joanne, once he's gone, Joanne, there's really nothing between our families. I know you guys have never accepted me. And that is how I left it the last time I spoke to her. She was angry because he never wanted to talk to them. He'd say a couple words because I'd force him to. I'd say, please just say anything like hello. And he would. So she called the adult abuse hotline. And they asked her, of course, did the police say there was neglect and abuse? You know, the investigators? Of course, I know the answer was no. They already told her 20 times that he had all of his needs. He looked, you know, there was no signs of any sort of abuse or neglect. He had everything he could ever need. He had me jumping for him left and right 24/7. I did whatever he asked me to. And I guess that's why they feel I shot him. Because if he would have asked me, they think I would have done that. I loved him with all my heart, but I wasn't going to jail for nobody. No way. No. I knew that he wanted to end it. I didn't know he was going to, because I said to him, I can sell everything we own and get you up to Maine, and we'll rent a little place, and we'll get you to some doctors and get you the right to die pill. I'll do it right now. I said, I'll sell everything and I'll take you to Brussels or wherever it is. I said, I'll fly you there. He said, I'm too sick. I can't tolerate that trip. Not even, you know, going up to Maine. I said, we could fly. He said, no. Bless his heart. So that's my dilemma. Sorry for all the pauses, but there's a lot on my mind here. My heart and soul says, do with his ashes exactly what he said to do with them, and do not. You know where he wants his ashes? The place where I met him the very first time. And we went to this little beach in Kittery, this very private little beach, and he made love to me in my VW. He and I both remembered that when we would meet years later, and I'd tell him, I did the craziest thing one time. I took this bouncer from the Kearsarge in my vehicle. You know, this was during Ted Bundy, you know, episode. Nobody knew who this crazy person was or where he was in the United States, you know. And I says, you know, and he says, that was me. He looked way different than, you know, the first time I met him. That's the first place he wants his ashes. The second place is in Bar Harbor, where we had our honeymoon. We were walking along Otter Point, and I dragged him into the woods. And that's the second place he wants to put his ashes. And this is going to be a hard walk for me, because I don't remember exactly where we were. We were on a little path, and I said, come with me, Dennis. Dragged him off and we found this grassy little ledge on a cliff overlooking the ocean, and there was a little boat. And I always wondered, I hope they didn't have binoculars. So anyway, and the last place that he wants the ashes is our favorite family place, where we've taken our children and swung on a swing, and in oh, what's the name of that? I have it all written down because, you know, me and my poor mind, I can't remember nothing. Is it Sea Point Beach? It's that southwest harbor, I think, or southeast, where Martha Stewart's place is. It's on that little harbor, and there's a little beach there with wild roses that grow, and a little swing that we'd sit on. There's a two-seater swing, and I think there was a little child swing as well, and a little bridge that crossed over just a little, you know, little area that a little bit of water trickles through, and he wants the last of his ashes there. I was going to do a couple more places, but then I said to myself, no, I want to do it exactly what he said. Those are the places I think his dearest memories lie. And the memories have nothing to do with his family. It all has to do with me. And I'm very flattered and grateful that I impressed his life so deeply. And I've thought about just maybe scattering some of his ashes where his parents were, but I know he doesn't want that. In my heart and soul, I know that's not what he wants. Am I wrong? That's my question. Am I wrong not to give them some of his ashes? I just feel like I'm afraid that the respect that I have for his ashes won't be in them. And I fear that they will do with his ashes what he didn't want done and bury some, and he would not want that. He was a free spirit, and he wants his body, what's left of it, to be free as well. To be in those beautiful places where we made love and where we fell in love and where we were together. I want that too. And I'm going to bring the kids with me so that when I'm done with this world, they will take my ashes and put them in the same places. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So please leave in the comments how you feel about it. I think I'm right. And it's not just my anger toward his family, because I'm trying to forgive. I really am. I can never go back to them. It can't be. It's over. And that's okay. And my sons and my daughter Rachel want nothing to do with them, but Bonnie still has something to do with Maureen. So, and Jimmy. But the others are just who they are. I'm going now. Let me know. Love you all so much. Thanks for watching. It doesn't matter if we're making money as long as we're having a good time and sharing our lives together. And thank you for those of you who've shared your life with me. I appreciate that. All right, bye.